Hi everybody, I'm Emanuela Paciotti from POLI.design, and today I will be moderating the presentation of the Specializing Master in Artificial Intelligence for Public Services. Please feel free to use the chat to ask any questions you may have, which will be addressed after the presentation. Now let me introduce the speakers, Gianluca Misurata and Marzia Mortati. Welcome.
Grazie Emanuela, thanks a lot. Yes, I'm Gianluca Misurata and I'm one of the founders of AI for Gov, Master in Artificial Intelligence for Public Services, as also founder, executive directors, and together with Professor Claudio Fejo, we envisioned this journey already a few years ago, and then jointly with Marzia Mortati, Oscar Corcio, Francesca Rizzo and Alessandro Deserti from Università Politecnica Madrid and Politecnico di Milano have actually implemented and further developed this program. The master has the ambition to really provide a unique learning journey on how to plan, design, and actually use artificial intelligence in the delivery and design of public services. The idea is that artificial intelligence in the public sector and for the public sector is something, let's say, different from the technical aspects that we can learn in other contexts, and that's why we have merged the data science capacities, the AI and data management skills of the Università Politecnica Madrid with the design and the service design specialization of Politecnico di Milano and POLI.design in particular. The program that we have launched with the co-funding of the European Union already back in 2021 is now entering into its sixth edition. So here we have the numbers of the previous four cohorts. Now we are actually implementing the fifth group. So we are reaching about 200 students in the current five cohorts all over the world. Actually, we had many nationalities for over 50 countries that have been involved in this journey. We had quite a fair representation of, balance in terms of gender, and most of our participants, rather than students, are people, executive working already in the public sector, in the European Commission, for example, in the OECD, the different UN agencies, and this is clearly where we see the added value of bringing the knowledge of artificial intelligence into the public sector, so that those that embark in our learning journey can actually implement immediately and put in practice what they are learning through our faculties. And indeed, I pass now the floor to one of the key actors in the field, because Marzia Mortati is part of this as academic director. And just before that, we always say that this master provide, let's say, address the need of mastering artificial intelligence in the public sector. As we said, is about executives that want to become functional specialists in the application of artificial intelligence in the public service. So, of course, you will learn how to use models, AI models, how to use data, but more importantly, this will be applied, let's say, to your specific sectors and functions in your organizations, be it procurement, healthcare, or social services or other. Of course, it is for executives, so it's mainly part-time, so you have two lectures live online on different days of the week. Actually, the current edition is on Tuesday and Fridays. And then we have two events that are face-to-face in Madrid and Milan. But very important, and here I pass to Marzia, is the project-based learning approach, the experiential learning that we have embedded into our master. So, Marzia, please.
Thanks Gianluca, thanks Manuela. Indeed, what Gianluca was just mentioning is one of the key factors that we believe has made this program so successful throughout the years, because we have now trained about 200 different people working in the public sector in many different
types of institutions that belong to the public sector, exactly using this project-based and hands-on approach that we have found to be so successful. So building on these, what are the specific goals, the so-called intended learning outcomes that we would like all the participants to the master to achieve? For sure, there are several that are very linked to understanding AI with a more competent language, compass, and set of tools and methodologies, which clearly also include data as one of the most important elements, because as we all know, without data, there is no AI. But then these are all very much linked to the specificities that the public sector needs. And this is, I believe, another factor that has made this program so successful, because we don't have a lot of competitors as yet, even in 2026, that actually are capable of combining the technical approach with the human-centric approach in real-world projects and hands-on activities that are specifically catered to the public sector and public officials themselves. Therefore, you see here also mentioned things like the ethical aspects of AI, the legal aspects of AI, the regulatory implications of AI, which we care for very much. And they are becoming increasingly relevant as we embed AI in the systems and services that we use every day, increasingly more. But also you see a last point about group work and the capability of nurturing this ability in all the participants to the master exactly through the hands-on activities that I was mentioning earlier. So as Gianluca already stated, this whole aspiration, ambition in terms of goals for all our participants is then translated into a program that is very much catered and tailored to professionals. We want to attract students that are already working in the public sector or that have already a long experience in working in the public sector and want to upskill, reskill, or even update their career path, let's say. And therefore, the structure through which the master program is delivered is very much thought for accompanying the needs of those that are already working and have limited time, but a strong passion and will to acquire new types of skills linked to these topics. Therefore, the classes are all held online in sessions that mainly happen after working hours, which we really believe speaks to the needs of professionals. At the same time, we also want to nurture the networking aspect of the master, because one of the greatest strengths of the program is also linked to the people that have done the master already in the past and that will continue to do the program. Therefore, the two in-person events that we were mentioning, one typically happens in Milan and one in Madrid, but then every year we try to combine different opportunities that may come our way for organizing high-level events and help the participants meet the most interesting experts in the field in that moment, in that year. And so we very much also care about these in-person events as moments in which we can further build the network that we believe to be so important for promoting meaningful AI adoption in the public sector. And this is the same ethos that we use for the i4Gov dialogues, which are moments happening online instead, where we invite and bring in other external experts on specific topics that are particularly relevant for AI in the public sector in that specific year, in that specific month. And as you are all aware, most probably these are constantly changing, constantly moving, because AI is a moving target indeed. And every year, because of this, we update slightly our program and our focus. And therefore, we have introduced these two flexible moments in terms of spot events that bring in new value to the program itself. And finally, the hands-on part, which we both briefly mentioned, but to add something on top of that, these hands-on projects have another value, which is to be linked to real-world challenges. Therefore, they are not activities that happen in a vacuum. They do not happen in the abstract, but they try to pass on to participants concrete tools and methods that they can immediately use in their practice, in their job, as Gianluca was mentioning, working on real-world challenges that at that moment in that year of the master are particularly relevant for different topics that we want to tackle. And therefore here in this slide you find the main areas of focus of what we teach throughout the 1 year that the master lasts. For sure there is a strong focus on governance and policy, and how AI is considered in this domain, which is one of the first areas that needs constant updating, because every year there are new regulations, there are new debates at the policy level, at the European level, but also at the member states level that need to be considered. The second area of focus is the main concern of the team of Politecnico di Milano and the Department of Design that delivers the master, which is linked to human centricity and how we can adopt a human-centric approach for embedding AI in public services, which we believe to be a pillar, a central pillar in whatever type of AI we want to develop in Europe and beyond globally. The focus on use cases is also very important, because once again we do not aim at teaching AI in the abstract, we do not aim at teaching just the technical aspects of AI, but we want to always bring to the class practical cases of examples that the participants may be interested in, lead examples that you may follow, but also for applying AI in your own company, in your own organization, but also examples that may have failed and from which you will be able to learn even more about what to do and how to go about the complex topics that AI embeds. Then for sure, the technical knowledge is the other pillar that is central for us. And finally, the global networking and the partnership building, which we nurture through the alumni community that we are currently building, embedding all the different participants that have graduated throughout the initial 4th cohort. And then also now in the 5th cohort that is ongoing. And hopefully, if you will join us in this journey, you will also become part of this alumni community, which involves several very interesting professionals now at the forefront of steering AI adoption in the public sector. This is clearly translated into a set of modules. So as you can see, there is a good progression starting from open and broader introductions to what AI in and for the public sector means and for public services, moving then through and towards the technical introduction on AI, which is here called the basic AI concepts and techniques, to then embed these through the service design and human-centric module, and then also culminating into the AI and ethics module. However, these 4 modules are not linear, are not delivered in a linear manner, but they're actually intertwined throughout the first half of the master program, so that you get to really build on the best theories and the most interesting approaches while the pathway, your learning pathway develops throughout the entire year of master. And embedded throughout these 4 modules, there are also the hands-on project activities, of which we have 4 overall throughout the master, and each one of them focuses on different topics and also on applying different AI techniques, the ones that we have seen to be the most relevant and interesting for public sectors as of today. And finally, the last effort for our participants is the development of a master thesis that is usually developed on a topic of your choice, with the help of a mentor who's an external expert that we choose in a tailored manner, meaning that first we help you develop the topic of interest that it's of interest for you in your master thesis. And based on that, we, throughout our networks, we identify the most suitable expert in that topic, coming also from other organizations, so not necessarily POLI.design, Politecnico, or Universidad Politecnica de Madrid, but from outer organizations that may be more suitable for your specific topic. And therefore, we build networking and relevant professional connections also through this approach. For sure, the people that have done the master throughout these 5 years have continued, on the one hand, have continued their career in the original organizations in which they were working, very often supporting their organizations in defining the strategy through which their organization could meaningfully adopt AI in the services that they were delivering. But some of them have also changed their career, maybe starting their own company, their own startup, specifically tied to the topics learned in the master. And some of them have also entered a new, different types of public sector organizations. Therefore, these helps us in saying, supports us in saying that there are many different types of jobs that you could aspire to, or positions in your own current organization that you could aspire to once you complete the master. For instance, positions linked to working in the European Commission, at UNESCO, at the OECD, at the JRC, or many other different types of agencies that belong to the UN, to the EC, and other international organizations. But we've also had national public sector organizations, for instance, coming from Italy, that have sent entire teams of people working on this topic and then using them to develop the strategy for their own adoption of AI. And here I pass the word back to Gianluca to conclude the presentation.
Thanks, Marzia. And actually, why then you should choose to join the AI for Gov Master? I mean, not only because it's a lot of fun, I can assure you, and we have a lot of activities, not only when we meet in Milan and Madrid, but also, I mean, along the year, that it's really of, let's say, adding value to the work that each of us is doing, not only let's say the students, but also the faculties. And clearly you are, as Marzia was explaining, gaining cutting-edge knowledge in the field of artificial intelligence, tailored in the governance of what I normally call the governance of, with, and by artificial intelligence. It's not just about the regulatory aspects, but it's really how to adopt these technologies in the public sector and for society at large, how to work with the private sector. And in fact, many students are actually coming from the private sector. Procurement issues are so important, the ethical aspects of and the design thinking approaches that we are embedding in the process. But clearly another important thing that it's in addition to this uniqueness, because there are many courses on AI. Now everybody is expert on AI, right? But in reality, what we have here is something more that is also expanding the professional network, because you are really put in touch with the top experts and peers in the field. And we have seen a lot of, let's say, spin-offs coming from the master already through the alumni community and many other partnerships developing all over the world, from Argentina to Bhutan to Philippines and India. So, and what Marzia anticipated, many of our students actually used immediately their knowledge to move up in their career path. I mean, many of our students are working now, for instance, in the AI office of the European Commission, exactly bringing this functional knowledge to the policy layers of the highest level of the decision making in the world. I mean, OECD, as you mentioned, the European Commission Joint Research Center, and many others. And we see this really happening also because there is the fact that we have, courses certified by recognized institutions, Politecnico Milano, the Universidad Politecnica Madrid, and the POLI.design that orchestrate all this effort are really providing something more than just, courses that you can find, let's say, somewhere in the web. This has been certified also by the European Commission itself, that awarded us in 2023 the Digital Skills Prize Award. We were winning a winner in the European Digital Skills Award in upskilling and digital upskilling. And this is also because, as Marzia was saying, we are addressing also the real needs of organizations to make sure that they can adopt AI in their work, and there are a lot of other follow-up activities that comes through the program. And clearly, as this will be explained, we have 60. The master is delivering a 60 ECTS certificate, a diploma. So this is something you can spend in your work-related environment. So I now pass the floor back to Emanuela, and we are here for any question that may be raised.
Thank you for the presentation. I'd like to add some information about the application process for the next edition of the Master in Artificial Intelligence for Public Services, which will begin in October 2026. If you go to the POLI.design website on the Specializing Master webpage, you'll find the full list of required materials for the selection phase. If you click on the Apply button, you'll be able to create your personal account and upload the necessary files. The application then will be completed on the Politecnico di Milano website by uploading the documents related to your academic qualifications. If you need assistance during this phase, you can book a call by scanning the QR code. As you can see in this slide, there are two main steps to follow. The first one is the selection step, which must be completed no later than 60 days before the course starting date. And then there is the enrollment step to be completed within 45 days. Please be aware that applications are processed in a chronological order and spots are limited, so don't wait until the last minute. In this slide, you can find the fee listed and our promotional policy designed specifically for this program, an initiative to support the design potential of those who choose POLI.design. In particular, we would like to highlight the early bird promo with variable discounts until all places are filled, and the public administration boost, the discount for PA organizations, and finally the discount for every employee from the public administration. Let's now move to the Q&A session. I will go through some questions we received in the chat. So the first question for you is this master only addressed to civil servants or also to people working in private companies? Do you want to go ahead?
Yes, actually, this is not only for civil servant. One of the added value in the program itself is exactly this mingling between people working in the public sector, people working for the public sector, and have also let's say the uniqueness that we, through the teamwork in particular, and the work also with the challenges that comes through the project-based learning, we can find solutions for the public sector and also better, let's say, align the values that come from the private sector that is normally seen as just a provider of a service or of a technology to the public sector, and rather making, let's say, the partnership in action. As I always say, I mean, when the public sector needs to adopt AI in their organization, they cannot, let's say, look at this like they are buying a chair or a table. It's something that is evolving. They really need to understand what they are procuring, how they can use it, and that's where this combination of public and private sector is very much needed. And we also allow for those working in different sectors to somehow speak the same language.
Thank you. Another question then. As far as I understand, this master is mainly addressed to professionals. Are also fresh graduates accepted or not?
So this is something that we typically evaluate on a case-to-case basis. In these cases, we often, Oscar Korcher and myself, as the two academic directors of the master, look at your application, your CV, and in particular your motivation letter. And in case it is needed, we also ask you for a brief interview in order to understand what is your starting point and what are the reasons, what are your expectations, even more importantly, for joining the program. We've had in the past young graduates also follow the program, so that is not a limit for us for sure. But certainly it's important for us to understand the underlying reasons why and the future expectations for a job. Also because it's important to underline that this master program doesn't foresee an internship. Therefore, this means that it's not that type of program that has a very structured way of introducing you to the job market, but at the same time, joining the network can also be a way for you to take advantage of the program and find your future job or join the market in the best way that you want. So it's something that we can evaluate on a case-by-case basis.
Thank you so much. Let's move to another question. Are the institutions you collaborate with only in EU or are they also outside EU?
Well, I can take this and also actually linking to what you say, that previous question about the young graduate. We don't have limitations. The only limitation is that we want to keep as much as possible the balance of gender because this enrich further the class discussion. And the diversity is a value here. So diversity of generations, diversity of countries in the world, sectors you come from, also to have a mix of technical and non-technical expertise, because that's where you somehow mirror your real workplace, your work environment. So you have someone that has legal, someone has a more technical expertise, and you work together. And the organization we are partnering are really global. Myself, I work with many of those organizations that are now our partners from different UN agencies, the World Bank also recently, and of course European Commission. So it's not just in EU. And actually we have many students that are coming from South America, from Asia, from Africa. So really it's global. And the global networking aspect is also where I see that younger, let's say, students could benefit of then entering into these kind of organizations once they have become also some functional specialists on AI for Gov.
Thank you. So a participant asks, are the in-person activities at students' charge or are they included in the master cost? The accommodation especially, so refers to accommodation.
So usually this is at your own cost. But what we try to do is to support through making the sessions manageable only with one night overstay, because you're asking about the hotel and the accommodation. Because usually the activities start on a late Friday morning and then they end on an early Saturday afternoon. That's the typical time frame of the in-presence activities. And also they are usually planned in cities that we hope are very easy to be reached from all over the world. We mentioned in particular Milan and Madrid because the two main institutions delivering the program are based in these two cities. But in the last 2 years, we've also switched one of these two cities for Brussels. And we've had events held in Brussels over half day Friday and half day Saturday, so that all participants could actually reach Brussels very easily, arriving on the Friday morning and leaving on the Saturday afternoon, therefore not investing a huge amount of money there.
Perfect. Someone asks, can the thesis project be developed in the company I work for?
Well, absolutely. Actually, this is very much what we are aiming at. What you learn in your learning journey, as we call it, is applied immediately, directly into your work organization. And we had cases, Marcia referred to some organizations that they actually joined with the entire team, and they were then putting immediately in practice what they were learning. And I don't know if we can disclose, but this was from Italy, from Azerbaijan, Japan, from Croatia, and from the Commission itself. So people work in different services, and then they could put this in practice. And by the way, we are also exploring with other initiatives. We are involved in some further, let's say, collaboration also in terms of organizing joint events that could also supply further, let's say, benefits for you also in terms of, let's say, benefits in terms of reduced fees for the accommodations, for example, that was mentioned before. So stay tuned, because there will be some news also in that sense. But already let's say the portfolio of discounts that are also tailored to your specific needs, your provenance, and of course giving a more focused, let's say, importance to the people working in the public sector is something that already it's quite unique, I would say.
Thank you. So we don't have other questions. Thank you for the presentation, for being here with us today. Thanks to all the participants for joining us, and see you soon. Bye.